Good afternoon. Like she said, I'm Dr. Savana Hatten, and my job most of the time is a technology instructional specialist. What I do is I help teachers integrate technology into their classrooms. So I'm very familiar with things like iPads and interactive boards. But even though this is my job, I know that teenagers think that teachers and parents are never cool, and that we're always behind on the latest technologies. So I want to kind of show that that's not true today, that we can do things. So to get started, this is my family. This is myself and my husband, and we actually have 4 teenagers in our house. You can see we have 3 daughters and then our son, and Savannah is my second oldest, and she's here with me today, and she's going to be talking about what technology we use in our home. Savannah, you're supposed to be talking about what we use in the home.
Well, that actually is a good example. Me tweeting actually is a form that we use as communication. We talk through Twitter, through Facebook, even Snapchat and text message. Speaking of text messages, we could really use the audience participation. If you could pull out your phones, that'd be very helpful. You can go to your internet browser and go to pollev.com/Hatten, or you can text the number 37607, and before you put your response to our poll question, please type the number 123642. And our poll question is, what kinds of social media do your parents use? And actually, while you're typing in your responses, let me take a picture. Hold on.
TED Talk selfie while we're waiting?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, these were some that were from yesterday when we were presenting. So a lot of people here, their parents were not on social media. But if you're like me, actually, my parents are both on Facebook. So there's 3 generations of people on Facebook in our family. Let's see if we get, okay, we have another one. Okay, so their parents use Facebook and Twitter. That's what I do. I have Facebook and Twitter. And actually, I also have Snapchat that we'll talk about in a little bit. So good. Oh, we've got some more. Oh, okay. My mom uses Snapchat. Oh, I'm sorry that your mom barely discovered Facebook. Who's out there, right? They're going to be liking all of your stuff now. Oh, yeah, too lame to use anything. Nice. Okay, Facebook only, Facebook. Good. So Facebook and Instagram. Instagram's kind of scary because that's even more about pictures, right? That could be embarrassing. Okay. Okay, good. We got I haven't done Mocospace.
I don't even know.
Interesting. That just made up? Okay. Okay. Yeah, my clicker's not working, so there we go.
I actually read an article on redorbit.com. It was about a study done at Brigham Young University where actually it says that parents and teens that connect through social media and Facebook and Twitter and all that, they actually have stronger relationships outside of the virtual world. So that means that they're talking and communicating outside just in real life. Also, it's a good way for families to connect and to compliment each other and brag about each other to their friends and coworkers and things of that nature.
Okay, so at our house, like I said, we have 4 teenagers on social media, and I'm also on social media. My husband actually does not like social media, and he's not on it at all. So we had to still work with myself and my children about creating some Hatten House rules of respect. And we're going to go over with you today. The first one is do not post angry. Wait 24 hours. If you have some kind of argument with your mom or dad or with your kids, if your parents in the audience, you need to wait 24 hours. Don't post something that says how horrible they are and how you can never forgive them. And then 24 hours later, it can go by and you're fine. I have an example. Here, this is a parent whose son is in college, and she found what she thought was his Facebook account and posted on there, and he posted back, "I'm not your son." Well, then she got very angry. And if you can look, there's several posts every day. One, she tells him he needs to call his grandmother when she was in the hospital, kind of sells him out there. And then another one, he's insulting him, his dad, his stepmom, everyone, and then threatening to stop paying for college. Well, finally, you look at the bottom here, and it's from Greg, and he's like, I'm really not your son. She posted on the wrong wall. It was another person with the same name. So if she'd been careful and she had actually called her son to talk about his post, I think that would have helped.
This rule also applies to teenagers. As teenagers, we often argue with our parents and maybe get a little more upset than we should, and we feel the need to vent. However, by waiting 24 hours, you're kind of determining what is respectful and what you're about to post will be okay, opposed to being angry. And if you do need to vent, having a personal conversation with a friend through text message or calling them is a lot better than posting your anger on social media where everyone can see and your parents could potentially see and get upset. Next rule is do not embarrass the other. And while this may seem a bit odd that a teen can embarrass their parents, they really can. By posting things that are...
Go to the next.
By posting things that are profane or saying you're a gangster or whatever, you actually can embarrass your family. By saying all these things, your parents and their friends can see it and they get upset. A good rule of thumb is before you post anything, make sure it's something you wouldn't mind your grandmother seeing. I know my grandmother is on Facebook, and so anything that I post, I try to make sure she would not be embarrassed and that she would be actually proud of me that I posted that. So that's a good rule of thumb to have.
Okay, for parents, you have to work on not embarrassing your teenager. We have to work harder, actually. I know that the trend for my friends is to ground their kids from Facebook and then post on their Facebook site about their grounding, what their kid did wrong as a way to shame their child. But that's not a good punishment. If you're going to ground them from Facebook because they weren't mature on Facebook, then you shouldn't be posting something that's immature yourself. So we need to set good examples. This parent, the kid probably did something horrible, I don't know, posted something mean about somebody, and they decided their punishment was to announce to the world that they wet their bed until they were 8 years old. And I just think that's sad as a parent. We've got so much dirt, we should not try to put that on Facebook for everyone. Let's go to the next example. This example is a parent accidentally embarrassing their child, and sometimes that can happen. This father actually used the phrase faux rizzle, and the child comments back, "That's why you are not listed as my father." And so I try to be careful and not post things that will embarrass my children, but I think I am a lot cooler than most moms, so I am lucky in this. Okay, I get it. Moving on. Okay, the next rule is do not creep or like everything. Now, the word creep, I didn't know what this meant till my kids explained it to me, but basically it means don't go on your child's Twitter account and watch them all day long. And so you know the second that they post something. I don't have time for that really, but I know that that would be almost stalkerish to them, and it's kind of insulting when their parents say, "What did you put when you just posted something 30 seconds ago?" Also, don't like everything on their social media. They don't want you to like every picture. I know, I think my kids are the most beautiful in the world, but I can't like everything because I explain it, it's like this. It's like me kissing them when I drop them off for school, okay? Don't like everything that they post. Savannah, do you want to talk about how teens creep or like things?
We don't like everything you post, so we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. The next rule is don't hide your posts. By hiding your posts from your parents, you actually automatically become suspicious and untrustworthy. First of all, you shouldn't have anything to hide from your parents if you follow these rules, but it actually can make them want to follow you closer because they're worried about what you're saying. So by hiding your posts, you just kind of dig yourself in a deeper hole. How does this affect parents?
Well, I don't know how to hide my posts, and I don't think most parents hide them, so I think we're good there too.
Also, a helpful tip, not really a rule, is to think of the other person's perspective. When you post something, you should always think, well, what would my mom think if I were to say this? I know my mom probably thinks I don't do a lot at home, but in reality, I have a very busy social life. I'm always on Twitter or Facebook, and if I post something about her that uses her name, that's inviting her to comment and that sort of thing. So if you want to be embarrassed, that's a good way to do that.
You're inviting, I always say if you say mom in there, I can comment. Sorry. So I want to defend myself. Also, a rule for parents, I say, maybe not a rule, like you said, a tip, is be careful. I have 4 teenagers. I try to make things fair and not have favorites in real life, and I need to do the same thing on social media. And I found this example. This mom right here posts about her son, Casey, and she says he's the best son in the whole USA. And you notice Tim under here posts back that awkward moment when your other son sees this status. So you have to be careful and make sure that you don't hurt anyone's feelings. Okay, well, here's some positive examples of how social media and technology have helped build our relationship. First of all, we all use Snapchat and we text. My kids probably text me about 2 or 3 times a day, each one on an average. It can range anywhere from pick me up till 5 o'clock, or I need to stay later after school, or it could be something like, hey, I love what they had in the cafeteria today. Here's a picture of my food. It could be, I really did bad on a test and I'm really upset about it. So either way, if it's something positive, I want to know the good things that are going on in their day. When you ask them at home, they're like, fine. But if they can text you all day, then that kind of gives you some help as what's going on with their lives. And then the negative things that they post, I want to be there for them and help them. So I want to know what's going on. This next picture is a picture of a Snapchat that I got from my oldest daughter. She's away at college, and she sent me this Snapchat because she saw a bluebonnet, took a picture, sent it to me because she knew that bluebonnets were my favorite flower. And I just thought that was so sweet, and that worked on our relationship. It took her probably, it would have taken me a longer time, but probably her, it took her like 3 seconds to send that little note to me. But it was very nice to say, hey, Mom, I'm thinking of you, and that just built our relationship.
Another good positive thing is anything that trends on Twitter or social media. This can affect your personal relationships because I know for us, the hashtag #BringBackOurGirls, it led to a very interesting dinner discussion where we exchanged thoughts and new ideas and that sort of thing. And so connecting on social media can help you connect and have new conversations that you wouldn't have had in real life, at the dinner table, driving somewhere, that sort of thing.
We share an iTunes account, mostly because I'm cheap and I don't want to buy the same song over and over again. But sometimes we do have different songs that we put on there. And so the song choices that my kids put on iTunes would not be what I would have chosen for myself. But I start listening to songs that they're listening to, and some of them I do start liking. And we start having that conversation about which artists we like. For example, I would have never listened to Ingrid Michaelson, and now I'm a fan. And, there's this Nicki Minaj song that I can't get out of my head, and I start dancing to at the house. So it's just...
So, movies.
Oh, sorry. I was embarrassing again.
We actually share a Netflix account, which actually is very interesting for me because there are a lot of movies on there that I would not have normally watched. Sleepless in Seattle, for example. I would not have watched that movie, but I saw that it was in our recently watched queue, and I was like, well, someone must be watching it. It must be okay. So I decided to watch it, and now it's actually one of my favorite movies. So it's very interesting, and now we find that we have more in common just through these kind of mediums that we can connect in.
And then the last one we're going to talk about is online bank accounts. In our family, when our children go into high school, we open their checking account linked to ours online, and we give them an ATM card, and we put money in it every month. That way we can look on their account, and we can talk about their spending, their saving, what they're using their money for. And then if something happens at school where they need some more money, they can call us, and I can just add money to their account. I don't have to come up to the school with more cash or try to figure out how we're going to do this. I know, just say, for example, if someone waited to the very last day to order their senior year, jacket patches, they could get the money transferred into their account. So that's one way that we work together financially.
And even teens are a fan of this online banking. I mean, free money, it's pretty nice. So technology is changing and growing. That's inevitable, but this can cause gaps. When parents and teens use different social media sites, they can become disconnected and not talking to each other. And what you want to do is connect through these different social media sites. As technology is changing, so must our relationships. We can no longer just ignore each other. We have to connect through every means necessary. So, thank you.
Thank you.